Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Black Logic. I'm pretty sure that all of you guys know by now that the late and great George Foreman has passed away at the age of 76. I'm not going to give any details behind his death, but nonetheless, this is another great man who done a lot of wonderful things beside boxing, beside his George Foreman grill. He did a lot of things for the community around his old neighborhood. But nonetheless, I just wanted to point out, if you guys wasn't aware, that unfortunately we lost another great boxer, another great man who done a lot of wonderful things outside of his profession that infused and supported a lot of communities that, again, a lot of people wasn't publicly known about. So again, just bowing our heads and giving grace for the achievements that he made, a well-known figure around the world. So today, what we're going to do, we're going to unpack President Trump's latest initiative to dismantle the Department of Education. He's proposing to transfer the massive 1.6 trillion student loan portfolio to the SBA, also known as the Small Business Administration. And this move aims to streamline operations and reduce bureaucratic efficiencies because critics are concerned about the SBA's capacity to manage such a substantial shift in responsibilities. Now, initially, the Department of Health and Human Services, which is under RFK Jr., will take over special education and nutrition programs. It signals a significant restructuring of federal education oversight. So, again, they're taking on the toll of the $1.6 trillion that the Department of Education usually gets. And we're going to see how the SBA handles this very large, significant amount of money. But again, I'm pretty sure they have the resources in order to do so. Again, will there be more people that will be in control or part of the SBA, or them just using technology as another apparatus for them to track and budget that amount of money? Now, in response to a $400 million funding freeze by the Trump administration over allegations of tolerating anti-Semitism, Columbia University has agreed to implement several measures. These include banning face masks during protests, restructuring certain academic departments, and enhancing campus security. Interim President Katrina Armstrong stated that these actions are part of a principled approach to navigate current challenges and restore federal funding. Of course, the federal government was giving Columbia University $400 million every year. So these are small acts to continue to keep this $400 million. So usually I think that this money was funneled through the Department of Education. Now it will be granted directly to the college itself, but it's a small ask for students to remove their face masks. And again, some people are like, oh, that will pose health risk because we still have COVID. In some regards, we have different strands of COVID. So again, as we look at these things, you can stand your 6 feet apart. Remember the 6 feet apart, we had the footprints everywhere so people wouldn't cough or spread germs of COVID, or someone sneeze, it wouldn't essentially get on them. They can do that. So they still have the right to protest, but you have to remove your mask so we can identify. So we can identify who's protesting. Now, if they are spewing anti-Semitic tropes, if they're spewing anti-Semitic rhetoric, should they be accosted because of their views and their opinions? How does that violate U.S. law? How does that violate the U.S. Constitution? Again, we have to comb through the law so, again, that the law is being upheld and that the law is not being violated. But again, we shouldn't be extending or stretching the law to fit our narrative of what is and what is not anti-Semitic when it comes to some of the protests that they've been having on the Columbia University grounds. I know this is a big story because the acting commissioner of the Social Security Administration initially considered halting operation following a court order restricting data access by the Department of Government Efficiency. However, after further clarification, They confirmed that the agency will continue its operation uninterrupted, ensuring that benefits to approximately 7 million Americans remain unaffected. This is very important that we take a closer glance at. But this is some of the things that I definitely wanted to point out because Social Security, take for myself, we are paying into Social Security, and they're stating that Social Security would not be afforded, that Social Security would not be there when I'm at the age of retirement, at the age of 65 and 67. So as we look at these things, we're looking at a time where we are investing in our retirement as Americans, whether it be from your 401k or a traditional a severance package. But Social Security is there for a supplement of pay to cover any additional costs that is not going to be covered by our 401k, by our annuities, by our severance pay that we receive from our careers, job, or even our personal businesses. So again, this is very important that Social Security stay intact and that it does not deplete because of the fraud, waste, and abuse by the government. So this is good that Doge is coming in and showing a great level of transparency throughout the agency. As we look at the Trump administration, they have announced plans to revoke the temporary legal status of approximately 530 migrants, 530,000 migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. And these actions are effective April 24th of this year. And this could lead to mass deportations, as will all Americans essentially who voted for Donald Trump have been waiting for, that this massive wave legislation actually takes effect. So again, we have a date of April 24th of this year, and that this will lead to this will lead to mass deportations. And as these individuals will lose their work permits and protections from deportation, the Department of Homeland Security indicates that the reasons for their initial parole no longer exist, prompting the policy change. So again, look for a lot of people on the Democratic side, a lot of liberals to come out and protest against this. Now, when we talk about they're losing their work permits, I wonder if they overstayed their welcome. I wonder if their work permits have expired, but this simply vocating their work permits or um, taking away their work permits simply because they're immigrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. Are they tied to any gangs or any illegal activities? Because again, as we look at a lot of the immigrants inside the country, we're not referring to illegal immigrants. We're talking about immigrants altogether. And as the American people, a lot of American people, not myself, not people who've been here for hundreds of years, people who established a country, right? White Americans, not all white Americans, because there's a lot of white Americans from Europe who's only been here for 1 to 2 generations, but people who date back to the early 15 and 1600s before America was even established. What are we thinking about when we're talking about people from these particular countries? Because we have illegal immigrants from Asia, we have illegal immigrants from Europe. I don't see the same smoke for them as well. When it comes to immigrants, when it comes to illegal immigrants, we can't just discriminate against these other countries. Whether it be Africa, the Caribbean, Asia, Europe, if you are legally in the country, you should be going out of those people first. If people have overstayed their welcome on H-1B visas, if they overstay their welcome on work and student visas, then they need to go as well. It doesn't matter what country you're from. We shouldn't be targeting certain regions, certain continents. We should be targeting those who are outside of their status. That is my take on that, because there should be no discrimination for people who are illegally in the country. There should be no favoritism or any of the sort. So we should definitely be looking at this a lot closer, because as we shifting our focus to the demographics of illegal immigration in the U.S., a lot of the U.S. data indicates that while the majority of illegal immigrants originate from Latin America, there are significant numbers from Asia and Europe as well. For instance, estimates suggest that there are approximately 1.7 million illegal immigrants from Asia, the Pacific Islands, as well as Europe, when you combine those numbers together. And I believe that is what's important. Now, recent reports have highlighted incidents where European tourists have been detained for extended periods at the U.S. borders. Cases include a German tourist held for 16 days and a Welsh backpacker detained for nearly 3 weeks. And these incidents have raised concerns and sparked fears among potential travelers to the U.S., leading some European governments to update their travel advisory. So again, there is some reports, there's some evidence to state that we are looking closely at European immigrants that come over here. And I won't call them immigrants because usually when we say immigrants, people are migrating to the country, either for school, work, and otherwise. And these are simply tourists. But don't forget, a lot of people come over to America on tourist visas. They come over to America on tourist visas and they overstay their welcome. So I believe that everybody should be looked at very, very closely, especially when your visa only have you to stay in the country anywhere from 30 to 90 days tops. So these are very important as well that we cover these particular stories. Venezuela Interior Minister Calabo has stated that none of the Venezuelans deported by the U.S. to a Salvadoran prison are members of the Tren de Aragua gang, which is contradicting to the U.S. claims. And the discrepancy raises questions about the identities and affiliations of the deported individuals, and with ongoing debates about the accuracy of the U.S. government assertions. And as we look at this, I just want to point out something here in this article. This is coming from Caucus. It says Venezuela's Interior Minister Cabello stated on Friday that none of the hundreds of Venezuelans deported by the U.S. to a Salvadoran prison is a member of Venezuela's Tren de Aragua criminal gang. And if that is true, then Venezuela needs to go to El Salvador, and whatever evidence or proof or diplomatic negotiations that they need to have their citizens to be deported, or for them to deport their own citizens back to Venezuela, that is what they need to do. But just making a wild report that, oh, none of these people were from this cartel or the Tren de Aragua gang that the U.S. stated they were from. Okay, if they are in the country illegally, because this is the extension of the El Salvadorian president stated that any of your illegal deportees, if you want to send them to the El Salvador prison, we will accept them. So again, on the flight and fright of your countrymen, you can go to El Salvador and retrieve your countrymen, since you state that none of them are part of this gang. Here's another question. Have they been committing illegal activity in America? Well, they was already in America illegally. Number two, are they part of any gang that has been conducting illegal activities and committing crimes? And number three, if none of that is true, then go retrieve your countrymen. I think that's the best thing, right? Instead of just making, these wild claim reports. Now, believe it or not, this is something I'm very happy about. This is something I'm very happy about because despite a very significant drop in Tesla stock value, retail investors are purchasing shares at unprecedented levels. Over a recent 12-day period, net retail purchases of Tesla stock reached 7.3 billion, making the highest magnitude of retail buying in over a decade. And this trend underscores a very strong buy the dip mentally among retail traders, even as the broader market experienced a correction. So those people who were going out, destroying Teslas, burning Teslas at different parking lots, even personal people's Teslas, people were getting their Teslas vandalized and keyed, and they were setting them afire. Thank you. Because now when I look at my portfolio, and I go to my Tesla stock. Let me guys show you this very, very quickly. I'm gonna show you my Tesla stock. I have a few shares in Tesla, and over the past week, I want you guys to look here on March 18th. Tesla was down to $223 per share, a loss of roughly around 9%. And if we look at today, Tesla is up almost 5.5%, $250, raising the stock price to roughly $250. That again, on March 18th on the dip was $223,000. Let me look at my position here. So today's return was $277 at 5.58%. And my total return from today is $1,683. So I thank them. And I only have 21 shares of Tesla, but again, it looks very well. I should have definitely bought more on the dip. I haven't been really watching this particular stock portfolio, but I am happy that it has raised significantly. And just for a better perspective or prospectus, I will look at the month reach out. And then within a month, you see that Tesla was down 24%. And I'm going to look at the bottom drop here. It was down 31.5% at $225 per share. But again, as I stated, we're looking at almost $250 per share. So all those people who link Elon Musk, and again, I understand Elon Musk is the CEO of Tesla. Elon Musk is the CEO of the Boring Company. Elon Musk is the CEO of SpaceX. But the things that he's doing with the government, with the Department of Doge, has nothing to do with his electric car vehicles. But as I stated before, he is a billionaire. And the only way to hurt billionaires is to take their money or is to hurt their bottom line. So I don't know the plot of a lot of people who are vandalizing and destroying these Teslas. They thought that maybe they destroyed a lot of the Teslas, that people will stop buying Teslas, that people will stop investing in Tesla, and it backfired. People are now going out buying Teslas to support Elon Musk because of the work he's doing with Doge, and they're investing more in Tesla stock. Now, me personally, I don't have a Tesla vehicle. I don't believe that America infrastructure is ready for a mass amount of people to have electric vehicles, but I have invested in the stock. This is not about my emotions. This is not about my political affiliations, which I have none with the Republican Party. I have none with the Democratic Party. I have none with the Independent Party. This is about money. And when it comes to money, I can see how Tesla has been growing their company year on end. Each and every year, it's been going up. So this is just a stock buy for me. So I thank them because I made some really good money. And last but not least, I would like to end this on a good note because it seems as though as America is turning the tide here, there's been a wave of crime and a lot of uncertainty. I say to you, let's end this on a very good note here. And let's just play this for All right. That's all I have for you guys this early morning. You guys have a great and wonderful day. And I see you on the next one. This is Black Logic.